Hey there guys, TC Babe with TC Gaming. Wanted to bring you another video in our action RPG series. In this particular one, we're going to go over the waves section, just give you an overview. In our previous video, we talked about how to add a new potion. I'll tell you right now, adding a new potion and adding a new weapon, basically the same exact process. You're going to duplicate a weapon, add the mesh for it and everything, and then just adjust the properties and the downstream effects for the blueprint. We'll get into that later. I wanted to skip ahead and kind of answer some of the questions for people that are out there actually watching this series and wanted to get into something a little bit deeper quicker. I did cover this quite a bit in my previous iteration of going through all this, and all that stuff should still apply to the same project. But I'll just touch over it real quick. So if we go into our blueprint section of the game, we have a BP game mode in here. And our BP game mode, if you zoom in on this, you'll see that there's an NPC kill counter and also a section in here where it says start enemy spawn, and a waves manager reads waves data from a data table and spawn the enemy types accordingly. So what happens here is when the start new wave gets called, and we'll go find out where that gets called from, but where start new wave gets called, it goes in and it gets the current wave and figures out where that is as far as wave underscore, it gets appended to this, whatever the suffix is. So I'll show you that. So like, for example, it's probably going to say wave underscore 1, wave underscore 2, wave underscore 3 from this data table. But it says to get the data table row from waves progression. So let's go out and look for that. We're going to slide this over here, come out, and there should be data tables in here somewhere. Let's see if it's under, where is it at? If you're ever looking for stuff that's in here, quickest way to do it is go right up to the content, and you can either go up here and look for these by filter. So this is going to be a structure. There's one in here for spawn group struct and wave struct. This said it's looking for waves progression, which is a data table. That data table comes off the structure. So we're going to go back up to our filters and we're going to look for a data table, which should be under miscellaneous data tables. And here's our waves progression. So if we open up waves progression, what you'll see in here is there is a name. Oops, drag this out. So it'll take wave 1, wave underscore 1, wave underscore 2, so on and so forth. And the definition of the wave is here in the spawn group settings. So in this particular spawn group, wave number 1, spit these out a little bit here. And what you'll see is wave number 1 is going to kick out these spawn groups. It's going to kick out NPC goblin level 1, then it's going to put 2 of those same goblins out, and then it's going to put 2 more of those same goblins out. And then when that is completed, this game counter over here is going to determine that the enemy has been killed right here. When these get spawned, they're going to increase the NPC count. And every time they get killed, they're going to take an NPC kill count off of there. And when the NPC kill count gets down to 0, it's going to start the next wave spawn point, or the next wave spawn rather. And the next wave spawn is going to come from the waves progression data table. It's going to go in there and take whatever the next index value is and look that up, and then it's going to put a wave underscore in front of it. So again, when you go down here and you start running through all these, spawn new wave is going to go down here. It's going to get the wave start. Add that, this is a widget. The wave start's going to get added to the viewport. It's going to call spawn next enemy groups. And it's going to update the timer for how much time you have. And it's going to go down through here and call that to spawn this group here. Again, it's going to go and get the wave array and get whatever the wave counter is in here, and it's going to spawn an enemy, and every time it spawns an enemy, it's going to update these indexes and remove those from the spawn group struct, and it's just going to keep looping back and forth through this until it gets done iterating all the different enemies. So for example, if we were to go into this start new wave and put a toggle breakpoint on here and go over here and start this game, what we should see is, boom, it comes in here, it goes to start new wave. And if I hit the keys to loop through here. So if you hover over these, you should see that's F11 to step into the next node to be executed. And that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to just hit F11. So start new wave gets called. It goes out and gets a data table row from the waves progression as we looked at here. Right now our iteration is on 1, so wave underscore 1. Just spawn out this NPC goblin level 1. Should only be one of these guys initially. When we kill him, he dies off because that particular spawn, first spawn, has been completely killed. It goes on to the second spawn, and that spawn gets killed, goes on to the third spawn, so on and so forth. So what we're going to do is we're going to, first of all, turn this volume down a little bit so you're not hearing that in the headset there. But we're going to go and just keep stepping through this. It's going to set the wave from this spawn group. And then it's going to go down here and call spawn new wave, which is the one we were just talking about a second ago. It's going to go out here to the function library and play an animation for the new wave to start up, which is basically the thing that's on our screen. Where it gives us the wave counter up here, this one right here. And again, there's one guy. You can just see the little red counter. Let's see if we kill this guy. Okay. He's dead. Now it's spawned 2 guys. We kill these 2 guys. And as long as we don't die. Those 2 guys are dead. Now it's going to spawn 2 more guys, which is, remember, part of the struct that we have. Or not the struct, but part of the wave progression. 1 guy, 2 guys, 2 guys. All the waves are over there for wave 1 complete, so now it's going to go and spawn the next wave. Boom. Start new wave. And then we're going to loop through F11. It's going to do the same thing, go and get the next wave. This one's called wave underscore 2. So if we look under here at wave underscore 2, wave underscore 2 is going to start out by spawning 2 level 1 goblins. Then it's going to spawn a level 2 goblin and a level 1 goblin. Well, the level 2 goblin, I can't probably get in here, but if you could get in there, what your level 2 goblin is a little tougher. He's got a little beefier weaponry and stuff like that. So we'll watch here. And we will advance this all the way through to resume to play. Wave 2 is starting. Again, here comes our first guy. Actually, I'm sorry, starts out with 2 guys. And what we want to do, that's a good weapon to get. Pick a potion here. See the level 2 guy, see he spits fire there. Look, there's a thing we got to fix. We'll fix that in just 1 second. Get through the spawn group here. We can. Alright, so now wave 2 is complete and it's going to go to start new wave. Alright, so what we want to fix there real quick is, now that we had that weapon in our hand, that weapon, we want to fix real quick that there is an ability for the player with, let's get rid of these filters. He has the that mega weapon. Find that weapon. What's it called? Items, weapons. It's a particular type of weapon. It might just be up here in the player ability section. So let's go up here like we did before. Remember, we'll go up here into our abilities and we'll type in GA underscore. There's our gameplay abilities. And the weapon is called what? Not the hammer. Let's go in here. We'll hit the tab key. Actually, I gotta go through that. Hit the tab key. Go into weapons, and I guess that one doesn't show up until you have more money. Maybe, let's see, or maybe until you're in a higher level. Let's go back. Tab in here again. Let's see if I can add enough souls to make that weapon appear. It's going to find the name of that thing. What it is basically is in our montage for the gameplay ability for that particular weapon. We don't have the montage in there. Maybe it's in our character animations or animations. Animations. Character animations. Just looking down through here to see if there's anything in particular for a montage. And it probably just uses the same, one of the same blueprints. Here's the pickups. Potion pickups, weapon pickups. Here it is. BP, weapon pickup. This thing called. Okay, after digging around a little bit further in here, I think I found this items pickups under weapon pickups assets. There's the Hellhammer, which is the same thing we saw there, but it's just listed under being a general weapon pickup, and it calls the GA gameplay ability weapon pickup, which is this right here. And if you look at the montage to play, again, there is, he's using a sword attack for the animation, but you can see that it's calling the one for Barbarous. So what we want to do is go and flip this down here. An AM attack sword. Should have one above it there for the dungeon RT anims. And we'll compile that. And if we go back to play, I don't know if we're going to spawn another one of those, but again, there's our start wave. We'll go down through. And we'll just go ahead and deal with this one. I doubt it's going to create that. I don't have any potions. All right. Well, anyway, that should take care of that with that weapon pickup. So we're going to go ahead and leave that as a win on there. I'm going to close this weapon pickup back up. And again, like I said, when we find stuff, we're going to fix it. So that was the Hellhammer. But going back here into the waves and everything, that's basically how our waves are going to run. So it's going to call that that wave progression. And again, we're going to step through each one until we get to the end. And when we get to the last one, after we get done with the wave, we're going to check the current wave, spawn the next enemies group, right? Whenever each wave is finished, we're going to set it to the next wave by taking the current wave counter and go to one to go from +1 to +2, +3. So this node right here just adds 1 to whatever the specified value is. So every time the wave's finished, it adds 1 to the counter, goes and looks for that current wave number in this wave progression table. And if the wave that we're looking for is not found in the wave progression number, then it just can't spawn that thing, and it should go to an end game state to say, well, sorry, all your spawns are finished, so you're done. Right? And if you see it here, I go through this to spawn the next enemies group. I just go and look at the enemy spawn group down there, and on the array loop, we just remove from the index and call the next one for the wave. So waves progression in here, we could prove this, that after all the waves are finished, that this moves on to the next thing. And I'll show you a quick way to troubleshoot some of the stuff if you're wanting to knock this out and play with some different things here. Waves progression, right there. I can right click on this and say show in folder view, and it'll show me where it's at. So my waves progression is right where the struct is. But if I were to take this waves progression and I were to go back here and say, let's duplicate this. I'm going to duplicate it. And I'm going to call it ARC_ARC for archive. Just so I have a copy of what it was before I modified anything, in case it doesn't work. So I'm going to go to waves progression here, and I'm going to get rid of, just by hitting the delete key, I'm going to get rid of those things. So what it should happen now is the game logic is saying pop out, run through 2 waves with these characters in them. First one's going to be pretty easy, a couple level 1 goblins. We're going to complete that wave, go to the next wave, which has slightly harder enemies in it. And as soon as this wave's over, we'll go to the end game loop, or the end game node. So watch again. We'll go in here. We'll spawn a single enemy. I got to minimize this. And let's toggle this breakpoint off. And, okay, so here comes my one guy. As soon as I beat this guy, we're going to get another spawn of 2 guys. And when I beat him, all the waves should be done. I got to go through the... All right. So wave 1's done. Wave 2 is going to be complete here in a second, hopefully. Oh, I died. Just at the end there, I forgot to go and do what I was going to do. But anyway, what would happen was, in the waves progression table, it would have gotten to the end of wave 2 and realized that there's nothing else to do. And what this should say over here is if the row's not found, so it loops down through they got to 3, wave underscore 3. We can prove that by going here and right clicking and saying there's a value on here, like right here. And you can say watch this value. So it puts a little watch on here. So if I hit play again, and let's just toggle a breakpoint here just to come into when the start wave is. Okay, so if I F11 through this, you can see that my value I'm watching right now is called wave underscore 1. So when it goes to this data table and looks at wave underscore 1, it reads this data and says, oh, okay, there's a spawn group in here called wave 1. And for each, whatever in spawn group, loop through here and find out what these things are. And then we'll go ahead and we'll call them into, drop them off at the local spawn points and go from there, so on and so forth. Now, when we get to the end of all of our waves here, it's going to keep spawning new waves, spawn new enemies. Eventually, though, you get to a point where this thing has run through its 5 levels, and it's just done. And what I was saying before is I want to do like a RPG that's got like a Diablo type feel to it or something, but more like where you have these progressions to go through. You go into an area, there's a spawner, spawns enemies, you kill that, you move on to the next area, kind of like a staged walkthrough. And then when you get to the final level, you're going to have a bigger wave to manage. So hopefully it gives you a little bit of insight as to where we're heading with this and the way that this all works. Again, as it loops through here, it just spawns each new level. Once the level's loaded, the spawn kicks in. Every time an enemy is created with the spawn, with the spawner or whatever, it knows that it's in existence. As soon as you kill that enemy, it decrements the counter. If the thing that the data table or the data engine is looking for doesn't find it in the table, instead of scratching, it just says, okay, there is no wave 7 or whatever, and it moves on to the next one. And you can prove that to yourself by doing what I was going to do. Take the waves progression table, get rid of some of the waves from it, and when you get to the end of the second wave, it's automatically going to go, I don't have another wave in here. What's my next level? And go out and try and find level loading logic that we haven't put in yet because we haven't created another level. So I just wanted to explain this to you so we can get all on the same page as we come through here. And what we'll do is we'll look at when the level starts, you get the timers and stuff clicking. We're going to shut all that off also and make it so that the character can just run around without having to worry about killing anybody. And then we'll create a new level, and we'll spawn characters in that level. We'll run through the waves progression. We'll beat the enemy at the end, and we'll call it a day. And we'll have a couple things along the way that help us imagine what else is going on here with these different things. I'll explain them the best I can. All right, my name's TC Made with TC Gaming. You guys hang in there, and I'll be trying to get out some more videos this week. My schedule was pretty jammed up the last few days, but it's actually pretty wide open this week. So we'll do this video. We'll stop it here. Try and keep these concise. The next video, what we'll do is we'll go in and we'll add another, maybe we'll add another map or another enemy or something like that to call and show how the level loading logic works and everything. Once we get into loading levels, though, I'm going to take a quick departure. We're going to go into a video that's about asynchronous loading. I've talked about this a couple times now. Asynchronous loading is going to be a big key to the success of this project, with being able to reduce the load times and load screens of areas. And we're gonna plug in async loading, and we're gonna follow the tutorial guide that's out there where the action RPG game was, that tells us how to improve the efficiency of that with our proper level loading logic. Okay. Again, my name's TC Made with TC Gaming. You guys have a great night, and I'll see you in a future video. You guys take care, stay safe, and be happy.